Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Oh my goodness. This week has gone by in such a flurry of events and follow ups and finalizing. I am just now getting time and bandwidth to sit down and connect with our social media ladies and to say, oh my goodness, the Momathon conference was everything. Okay. If you're new here in this space, or maybe you haven't been here in a while, I am Christina Garrett. I am your productivity coach. I am honored to be the founder of the Momathon movement, the Momathon conference, a community of brilliant, ambitious women who love God, who love their families, and want to see everything that is put inside of their hearts come to life. Okay. Hi, Lude. Hey, everybody. Hi, Jamil. For those of you who are watching on Facebook, listen. For those of you who attended the conference this weekend, if you did, sound off in the comments. Drop an emoji, drop how you're feeling post event. Y'all, there are no words. And I'm not kidding. Like, I wish I was embellishing. I wish I was doing something over the top. Y'all, there are no words for how phenomenal the conference was this weekend. And it would be very prestigious of myself to say, oh my gosh, Christina, sis, you did a good job, right? Which I could pat myself on the back and say that, hey, everything went according to plan and plus some. Somebody said best event ever. Thank you, girl. I could very well say that. However, I am always of the mind, okay? Whenever it's conference time, I'm always of the mind that it is the ladies in our community that make this good. Y'all hear me? It is the ladies in our community. It is all of you that came and connected and laughed and cried and worshiped and electric slid all over the conference room. It was you ladies that came and showed your faces in Atlanta. You brought your passion, you brought your gifts, you brought the things that you're carrying with you for the next season. You all brought that into that room. And you guys are what make the conference phenomenal. Every single year, the Momathon conference is saturated with prayer, from the speakers every single year to the location and God giving us favor. Also down to the reasons why everybody comes, because everyone comes for a myriad of reasons, right? Like, think about the reason you came. Yes, y'all saw me on the internet. Yeah, I'm cute with my mohawk. I'm cute in person too, right? You guys, everyone comes for a different reason. And I, Christina, as a human being, as a person made of flesh, right? I, as a human, cannot answer every single reason that every woman in that room was there. Everybody came for a different reason, right? One of our sisters, she was there, y'all. She was just soaking up the atmosphere. She was quiet. Hi, Michelle. She was quiet, but you could tell she was soaking it up. And she said, I just needed to be here in this environment. I just needed to be here and breathe this different air. It was a different air this year. I cannot even, if you were there, if you know, you know. There was a different level of excellence in the room this year. There was a different level of, I know that this is what has to happen. Like, I know this is a part of my next. And so tonight, I'm just now getting myself together enough, okay, to show up and just convey, to show up and remind those of you who were there, and then to convey to those who could not make it into the room with us for whatever reason, right? Everyone has different life things going on. Some of us, our kids popped up sick. Some of us, we have a whole bunch of things happening, right? So what we want to do instead is infuse you guys with a sense of the passion, excitement, and some of the topics that we covered at the conference, okay? So if you made it in the house, then you're going to start to feel just tingles all over, and just snap your fingers in the comments and say, yes, sis, that was everything, okay? And then if you weren't there, hopefully you hear something tonight that encourages you, that inspires you, that helps you say, hey, you know what? I'm ready to go to the next level, okay? In conjunction with that, we're also going to talk about how to get out of our own way. How to get out of our own way. Because a lot of times, good evening, ladies, a lot of times what's keeping us back is that I'm in my own way. It's me. You know how John P. Key says, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need. Sometimes we have to be honest enough to say, it is me. I got to get out of my own way. Like Jamie said, I have to be committed to changing my story. I have to be committed to turning my negativity into something positive, okay? And so tonight we're going to tap on multiple facets of what we talked about over this weekend. And it is my hope and prayer that if you were there, you are re-energized, okay? And then if you weren't able to make it, that you hear something tonight that encourages you, inspires you, and helps you to keep pushing, okay? So I'll talk about what I talked about last. For everybody that was at the conference, my physical therapist, Miss Charlotte McCray, wrecked the house. Now, here's what's interesting, okay? Here's what's interesting. I came into her office one day. She was teaching me so much information about, hey, ladies, so much information about my own personal health, digestive health, food aversions, pelvic health, which we're going to talk about, all of these different things together, okay? Somebody said I'm still talking about her. Okay, mind blown. As she's teaching me all these things about myself, about my body, and I'm just kind of relearning some things, I go into her office and I say, Miss Charlotte, you should come and speak at my conference, right? I was like, we're a women's conference. We love God. You know, I think she knew I was a Christian, but she wasn't sure that it was a Christian event, right? Even though it's a Christian event, we do cut up. Okay, all right. But I don't know if she really embraced like what was happening and all this stuff together. So she says, well, let me pray about it. Okay. She says, let me pray about it. I'll let you know. I said, Miss Charlotte, I would not have asked you if God hadn't already said yes. There are lots of ladies who, you know, after I'm like, listen, you're going to present. And they're like, ooh, let me go pray. I'm like, God would not have laid you on my heart if the answer wasn't yes already. So she starts laughing and she says, let me go talk to him so he can tell me too. And so Miss Charlotte comes back the next week and she's like, yes, I will come and present. And her and a friend of hers came, and the friend was just there to pray while she was presenting, right, and to support her. Y'all, Miss Charlotte's presentation on pelvic health shook the room. It shook the room. Because the title of it is Sisters in a Secret Society. It's backwards on Instagram. Sisters in a Secret Society. And the reason why it was called that is because we're all members living in a community, but even in our community, we don't talk about the things that connect all of us. Okay? And now, if there's a guy watching, I'm sorry in advance. We're talking about the importance of pelvic health. Okay? So she had a bladder health quiz, like a pelvic health quiz, okay? And you had to answer yes or no to the questions, okay? Do you have to urinate more than every 2 hours during the day? Do you have trouble making it to the toilet on time when you have the urge to go? Do you rush to the toilet? Like you can't take your time, like you mapped out the bathroom before you even got there. Miss Charlotte snatched our edges. She said, do you lack the feeling that you need to go? Do you empty your bladder too frequently? Do you have triggers that make you feel like you got to go to the bathroom? Like you put your key in the door, you got to rush to the restroom. Or you hear running water, you got to rush to the restroom. And so everybody took the quiz, and she said, listen, if you don't check anything, if your answer is no to everything on this quiz, then I want you to stand up. In a room of over 60 women, only 4 ladies stood. That they had no pelvic health issues. She said, have any of you had surgical interventions? 3 out of the 4 said yes. In a room of over 60 women, only 1 woman qualified to not need any type of intervention, post-surgery, or any kind of pelvic health support. Only 1 woman. And somebody raised their hand. They said, does this qualify like you laugh and you use the bathroom, like you feel a little something happening? She's like, yeah. And somebody else said, well, what about this? Or what about that? Or you cough, or you laugh too hard, or you sneeze. And everybody in the room was like, oh my God. She said, listen, these things are not normal. They're not normal. So if you're suffering with stuff like this, you need to take some action. She talked about our cycles and our digestion. She said a lot of times everything in our body and our abdomen is not working like it should. So what feels like sciatic pain or sciatica is actually poor digestion. You're not going to the restroom like you're supposed to. And she was talking about all these issues that connect us as women that we just do not talk about. She said, if you're not using your pelvic muscles, like doing your Kegels or getting, what you can insert not tools, but stuff like that, in order to make sure that those things are staying strong, right? Our pelvic health. She said, if we're not doing these things, then you can lose the power to keep all of your organs inside your body. So then we started talking about like prolapse, like where your stuff just starts to fall down. And then somebody raised their hand in the back of the room and says, does self-led sexual intervention count as using the muscles? And it went like, and we're in the room, minds blown. Minds blown. Because she's talking about healthy sexual health in a room full of moms, right? She's talking about healthy pelvic. Our bodies are supposed to be working in a certain way. How if you feel pain, thank you, Jamie, on your right leg versus your left leg, it means different things. She wrecked the house. Okay? And so what she was saying was, certain things can irritate your bladder, vinegar, coffee, tea, spicy foods, drinking too much soda, all these things that are attacking the lining of our bodies that are interfering, okay? Talking about our digestion, talking about being regular. I mean, did anybody else go through this entire pamphlet? Because it is pretty extensive. I'm just looking at it myself. Y'all, she brought a sample pelvis that looked like this. We were in there, shook. And then she turned that thing upside down and somebody said, oh my Lord, because you didn't know what everything looked like. Crazy. Okay. So Miss Charlotte absolutely brought the house down. And one of the reasons is because we really need to know what our bodies are doing, what's normal versus what's not normal. And a lot of times we as women, we don't even know that our mothers and mothers struggle with certain things. It's because we're not talking about it. Okay. And so as she sat there, she sat on a chair. She said, you need to get a mirror and look down there and see what's going on. Y'all, I have a picture. I'm going to post a picture. The picture is her with her fingers up. And she's like, listen, you need to know thyself. And we are in the room with our mouths open at this 60-something-year-old woman who has been practicing physical therapy for over 40 years. And she got all up in our business. You are not supposed to laugh and pee a little. She was like, you're not. These things are not normal and you need to take action. It was mind blowing. Okay. And so, for everybody that was there, for those of you who are not there, if some of the things that I mentioned, you're like, wait a second. Tasha said, where's the box of things that you insert that she passed out? Let me see. I don't have a sample box, but there were things that you can like kind of wrap, put inside to make you work on your pelvic health. Edges snatched. You hear me? We were all in shambles. We were all in shambles. So Miss Charlotte brought the house down. Okay. Up next, we split off into the married and the single ladies. Okay. So if any of my single sisters who were at the conference are watching today, can you guys just share in the comments some of what you all learned if you're watching on the Momathon Diaries page? I, of course, was in the married ladies session and meant to tip over to go see the phenomenal Princess Cutthroat. But Minister Tamika Baker absolutely rocked the house with talking to us about our marriages, okay? And she talked about steps to a life by design. And she says that there are even steps to your marriage by design. Having faith, knowing that your marriage belongs to God, okay? And that a lot of times we forget to remember that even in our thoughts pertaining to our marriage, that everything is supposed to be submitted to Him. And so many times we skip over and we start to operate in our flesh. We start to operate as we think that things should go instead of remembering God put me and my husband together for a purpose. And the purpose is bigger than my emotions in this moment. It's bigger than. There were a lot of ladies who were ministers' wives, a lot of ladies who were newlyweds. There were some ladies who say, hey, listen, I'm married to this high-powered brother who's headstrong and moving full steam ahead. How do I help to shift? How do I help to make some shifts in our family life? Because I feel like some of my needs aren't being met. Okay. And so one of those ways is through rest and rejuvenation. How we as women, sometimes we have to set the stage for rest and rejuvenation. That we have to remind them it's okay to slow down. For some of us as high-powered women, we're the ones that need to embrace more rest and rejuvenation. Some of us, our spouses are telling us they need more time. Okay. They need a little bit more attention, a little more focus. We talked about how we as women, a lot of times we need emotional intimacy, but we got to add on physical intimacy too. How awesome and important it is that we don't go too many days without connecting, right? That we don't go too many days. Some of us are on weeks. I see you. Some of us are on weeks. That we go too long in between coming together and connecting as a married couple, right? Because life is busy and we're exhausted and we're doing so much. Sometimes we forget that, hey, this needs attention too. Or we as women, I feel like you're missing out on giving me emotional intimacy, so I don't feel as pumped up about sexual intimacy. Let's get our minds right with faith and rest and rejuvenation. She also reminded us about timing and intentionality. Can we intentionally do things for our marriage and not just wait for it to happen? Can we put our mentality, our energy, our focus into making sure that it's thriving, doing those check-ins? I have found sometimes us as women, we're waiting on our husbands to initiate a lot. I have also found that for many of us as Black women, we have come up in a place where we have high-powered women in our families. We have high-powered women in our communities. And Instagram would have you believe that men shouldn't be spoiled and loved on just like us. But what if we took some of that intentionality that Minister Baker talked about and we began to say, hey, how can I intentionally love you better this week? How can I do that on purpose? okay? And that's so needed. And then to take action. When things come to you that you can do to sow more into your family, to love more on your family, to slow down. Sometimes we've let the kids run us ragged. We let our jobs run us ragged, our goals run us ragged. So many things taking us into hyperspeed that because we're living in hyperspeed, we're no longer able to take that deep breath. Okay. And we talk a lot about that here in this space. And so that's what our married ladies talked about. Princess was talking to the single ladies. And I don't know if she's watching tonight, but I really wanted for her to do a check-in with our single ladies, our single moms, to remind them that the time is now for them too. Hi, Shauna. Thank you so much. The time is now for you too. And a lot of times we are waiting on Boaz to live our best life. Or a lot of times we might feel like because a woman is married, right? Like we love having that added support, that rock in the home, all those things. But that's not everybody's experience. Nor does being married cure loneliness. Right? So there are some things that we got to do intentional internal work on ahead of time. And so she talked about, who are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? The time is now. And some of us are waiting on Boaz to make it on the scene before we say, I'm worthy of a vacation, just me. I'm worthy of working on my goals and investing in my next level. I'm worthy of going to the next place. Who are you waiting on? And so Shauna said, we discuss common myths and barriers and how to overcome them in order to walk in the purpose that God has given us. We also discuss building a firm foundation, and we are released to rise. She said, y'all are anchored, aligned, and you should be active, moving already. Moving already. Who are we waiting on? And some of us, we feel as though there's this designated moment. The whole theme behind the event this year was the time is now. Like what's the holdup? In our intro session, I was like, we just don't have time for this. We don't have time to wait consistently over and over and over again. Tomorrow, always tomorrow. And the time goes on and we wonder why we haven't progressed forward, okay? After lunch, listen, let me also add that every single session this year went over. There were so many questions, comments, conversations that came up during these morning sessions. We went to lunch like an hour late. Okay, it just was what it was. All right, so up next, the fabulous Jennifer Francis. And Jennifer came and talked about the power of pivoting, the power of changing directions. And so let me see if I can find her slide, because she was so dynamic and I don't want to miss out on all the points that she gave. Here we go. All right. So Jennifer said that in order for you to move to the next level, you have to educate, network, get a mentor or a sponsor, work on those job postings, sow, and invest in you. And I'm going to go into those. Number one, educate. How are you perceived? How are you perceived? Someone asked, they said, how do you guys perceive Christina, right? As the person who invited you to come here. How do you all perceive me, right? How people perceive you a lot of times can affect how far you go in the industry of your choice. So she says you need to continue education, taking classes, getting certifications, and learning about the area that you want to go into, especially if you're making a career shift like going from HR to technology, for example. She also says to network. And this is something that a lot of times we don't do as much of as we should or could. So we don't join networks that are outside of our comfort zone. We don't join areas outside of our comfort zone. We stay within this one particular area. And we only network with this particular chosen whatever. Okay. And so what she says is that we need to stretch ourselves. We need to go on stretch assignments. We need to offer our support, our help in other places so that we get warm. She also says to get a mentor and get a sponsor. Okay. So a mentor is somebody who you can vent to, who challenges you. But a sponsor is a person that goes to bat for you for your next career step. A mentor is somebody that you vent to, and they're going to challenge you to be better. A sponsor is somebody who goes to bat for you, that says, hey, have you considered so-and-so? They add so much value. What about them? We all need somebody who's going to help line us up to the next stage. And I was sharing about a sister that I connected with who works at a major athletic company. And when we first connected, she was asking me about coaching. And I said, well, listen, because you're not a wife yet, not a mom yet, I only work with moms. I will put a pin in this, but let's keep the relationship. I'm happy to be one of your mentors, right? Where, we just connect. If you need support with work-life balance, we can talk about it. So we just kept that relationship, and it's opened up many more doors where I've been able to sow into her and vice versa for me as I stretch in my career. Okay. And so we have to make sure that we're finding people who are walking with us to the next level. We also have our job postings. She had all of us cracking up because she said a lot of times men will have 4 out of the 10 qualifications and they will put themselves in for that particular job, won't they? They will apply whether they fit the bill or not. Whether they fit it or not, they got 4 characteristics out of 10. They're going to put their resume in to apply. Okay. She said, but for women, we'll have 8 out of the 10 or 7 out of the 10 characteristics for the job and feel like, oh, I'm unqualified. I don't meet the standards. So she suggests to us that we post for jobs, even if you don't think that you're qualified, but you're interested in. She said, use it for interview practice, stretch your legs, get comfortable in the hot seat. But so many times we know we're capable and we don't even raise our hand and say, I could do that job. And if I don't have it all on my resume right now, I learn fast. I know that I could do that. She says we should sow, that we should be somebody else's mentor. And beyond that, we should share our story. That somebody needs what you have. Somebody is waiting on you to breathe life into them. The conference for me is a way for me to sow. It's a way for me to love on some of the ladies. When we get sponsorship money, it goes to supporting women coming to the event who otherwise would never be able to attend. So we go in, we step in, we do that work. It's a way for me to sow. Give back. And then last but not least, Jennifer said, invest in you. Self-care is prayer, setting boundaries, saying no when we need to say no, and even exercise, like moving your body. Me and Jennifer were on the phone for at least an hour today doing a conference debriefing. And I was outside huffing and puffing and walking my dog and moving my body. She says investing in you might be you paying for somebody to look at your resume, to make it better fine-tuned, to get that opportunity. And she also said self-maintenance. And I added in addition to resume, if you are a service provider, you're an entrepreneur, maybe that's a media kit. Maybe that's a speaker sheet, right? Maybe that's coaching. It should definitely be coaching with somebody that's the next step ahead of where you want to be. Somebody that's got receipts. That's investing in you. That is you making the decision that you're going to be better. Somebody asked me yesterday, we were on a discovery call, and she's considering working with me. And she asked me, she said, did I ever feel uncertain? Did I ever lack confidence or wonder or all these things? And this is on the topic of investing in you. I said, oh, absolutely. I even feel it still to this day. Still to this day, there are moments where I say, what in the world are you doing? Are you crazy? How? What in the world? To this day. But I said, since I have been coached, I'm a different person. Not kidding. My mind doesn't even go to the places that it used to by the grace of God. Doing all this inner work in here about what's possible, the event would not have gone like it had. I would not have been able to walk in a different sense of freedom this year. My mind is forever changed. So now when I come up against an obstacle, I now say, what is God teaching me in this moment? And there's a way around this versus, oh my gosh, the house of cards is caving in. My life is over. There's a difference now. So investing in you pays off 10 times over because you know you're now changing your thoughts and your mindset, okay? It has to change. It has to be edited. It has to work on it. Tracy said inner work. The inner work, the stuff that nobody sees. The stuff that no one sees. The level of belief that you have in yourself. Woo! That is as a result of an investment that I myself made. She asked me, she's like, what about coaching and just different questions? I said, sis, if I had not coached myself, y'all would not see the level of excellence that I was even remotely able to put out. If I wasn't doing that work, the thought work. And a lot of times it's like, nah, what thought work, blah, blah, blah. No, ma'am. We don't have time to play. And so we'll get to that. That's my section. We'll get to it. Tracy said that's a topic all in itself. Belief. That when you get up to a challenge or you get up to a brick wall, hey, sugar, you get up to a brick wall, it's not the end of the world. And I actually believe that it's possible. Like, y'all, okay, let me finish. So, after Jennifer wrecked the house, come on, princess. After Jennifer wrecked the house, we had Mama Tarkessa Colvin come up and snatch edges, okay? And she talked about pricing. Now, one of the things I love about the way we set up the Momathon conference, the goal is to meet all aspects of your womanhood journey. Not just one. So you go to certain events, and even Jennifer said this, and I was so grateful for her saying this today. So if you go to a TD Jakes event or whatever, church conferences or all the things, you're going to get spoken to about being a godly woman. Nothing wrong with that. You go to a conference about being a wife, you're going to get some stuff about wifeness. Or since Princess is here now and LaShawn is here now, you go to a conference about being a single woman and having the I'm a goddess, woman empowerment. Don't laugh, y'all. Woman empowerment, I attract, all the things type thing for single ladies. They're going to talk to you about being a single woman, right? If you go to an entrepreneur conference, they're going to talk to you about being an entrepreneur and building your business to whatever and worthiness and all this kind of stuff that comes with going to business conferences. And so one of the things that I appreciate is that the first part of the day, we talked about your role as a woman, your health, your marriage and family. And then in the afternoon, we were talking about business building, career building, going after that promotion, getting your life together so you can secure your bag, right? It was all of these things. So it was so multifaceted. It was so many areas of different things for women of all types that they had all these questions. In every single session, everything went over. I said, y'all, I promise we're going to chill in the evening time. So y'all just work with me. Y'all work with me. Get your questions out because this is what you came here for, okay? And so Tarkessa, she wrecked the house talking about pricing. What she did was she broke it down for us, and she talked about toxic pricing, okay? And I'm so glad that I had fixed my pricing before then, because otherwise I would have been in there with y'all looking raggedy, because that's how she did us. She said, one of the things we cannot continue to do is deliver excellence at mediocre rates. You cannot deliver excellence at mediocre rates. And she sat and broke down a case study of working with a particular client who said, well, listen, I'm just tired in my business. I'm doing so much, I'm just feeling very overwhelmed. And she said, well, listen, how much is what you're selling? She said, $197. Okay. And she said, surely that's for a course. Surely that's for a master class on a Saturday. Surely this is for like something that's a one time. She said, no, that was for like 2 months of coaching. $197. $197, not $11.97, $197. And she went down into how sometimes our poor sense of self-worth, our lack of belief, what we talked about earlier. I want to add on lack of calculating your own receipts, right? Talk to somebody, they said, well, listen, your rates have changed since last year. I said, baby, I was in Essence Magazine and filmed with Essence twice this year. The rates are not the same. They are not the same. You can go and see me on video. No, ma'am. And even beyond that, I can tell you how to do it. Just public relations alone is that rate. Receipts change the rate. So Tarkessa told us, you cannot do the same thing you used to do. For some of us, the math is just not mathing. Can I get an amen? For some of us, you have been doing so many things, so many awesome things that have fueled how good you are at what you do. You got years in the game and you charging $200. You got years in the game. Some of us have to go back to who we really are. We got to go back to, wait a second. One of my ladies is watching. When I say, what other certifications have you done? What other classes have you taken that make you a killer at this career game? She know I'm talking about her. And she started just listing out stuff. Oh, I've been in this for almost 20 years. Oh, I've taken this class and these certifications and done this training. Oh, so you telling me that you that chick should nothing be less than $1,000. And it's okay if that's where you're starting out. But don't let it be because my own mind told me no. Let's just get that out. Oh, I'm going into my section. Let me come back to my girl. And so she said, we cannot continue to deliver excellence at mediocre rates. And that toxic pricing leads to burnout and busted bank accounts. And so she said, how many hours does it take for you to advertise for that package? How many times? How much does it take? How many hours does it take for you to connect and promote and onboard said client? Do you have a virtual assistant or a marketing assistant or all these things that help you to do X, Y, and Z? All of this has to go into the rate. Oh, you paying for Zoom Pro? That's got to go into the rate. It's all in there. What kind of bonuses? One of my ladies that's watching, when she signed on as a client, she got a bouquet of flowers the same day. In fact, I think it came while we were coaching on her very first session. She got a bouquet of flowers. My ladies, after we finished a coaching program, I think everybody, even in other countries, got gifts sent to them. You're putting all of this into how you serve your clients. You're putting all this pizzazz up in there. And so what we have to do is get out of the toxic pricing element. So she said we got to do our math. If you have not done your math, this $197, and you're splitting it down between 8 1-hour sessions, and then you got to subtract again for Zoom and StreamYard and your VA. And now at this point, you're in the negative. At this point, you're now in the negative. Hey, Felicia. At this point, this is now a different ball game, right? So we got to exit the toxic pricing. And most of the time, toxic pricing comes to us from a place of, I don't feel worthy to charge more. I'm letting you know I've been there. And at a certain point, it was like, you just cannot. Sometimes when I get on with clients, we just go through all the reasons why you can add a zero. All the reasons why you're allowed, you're qualified to go into this space with confidence. Here are the reasons why. And that helps you to adjust yourself a little bit. Fix your crown a little bit. You say, oh, wait a second. You kind of saunter a little bit, right? You got a different vibe about yourself now because you're like, wait a second. Wait a second. Tracy said, I'm okay now, coach. She okay now. Every now and then when I start to feel like, I'm just all right. My Essence magazine is in my den next to my office area, sitting on top of the fireplace. So when I forget that I'm that chick, I go back and I open that page up. And it says productivity experts give you everything you need to kick off your school year or something like that. I'm the productivity expert. What? Me? Sometimes we forget that we're a whole baddie. Stop. Add a zero. Okay. All right. So after that, on Saturday, we had Kenda Fields, who gave us all the jazz on our social media management. Okay. And so while we hovered over what we were learning from her, one of the things that she emphasized to us is that we really do need to build our communities. We really do need to figure out the direction that we want them to go in. And we need to make sure that as we're producing our receipts, that we collect testimonials, okay? And so she said to put an emphasis on really telling your story. Put an emphasis on telling your story. That she's worked with, y'all, over 80 women-owned businesses, many of them Black women-owned businesses, okay? And because she's had a range of experience, she has found that so many of us don't tell our stories. So many of us are not connected to our story ourselves, so it's hard for us to relay that to other people. But people invest in other people, not just businesses. Not just this lofty idea of, I'm going to Walmart. Sometimes we just go to Walmart, we go to Target, we don't think anything of it. But when it comes down to buying certain things, we're attached to the people who have a story. We're attached to those people who have a story. Are they willing to paint the picture of, I have not always been here? There were days when I was down there, way down. There were days when I told this at the conference, I said I was never going to do this again. where it was so bad. I said I would never host another event. I have told these stories, right? I've talked about being so tired as a mom that I was like, walking into traffic would be better than being sleepy, feeling like I feel. Postpartum depression is real. Telling that story helps other people to say, well, if Christina can get herself together by the grace of God, I can too. I'm not stuck here in this particular situation or this area of my life. I'm not stuck. So when Christina tells me, hey, we got to make moves, we don't have time to just be stagnant. I know where she's been, and now I see where she's going. Okay. So Kenda reminded us we must tell our story. There's power in painting a picture because people want to work with folks who tell the authentic story. They want to walk with folks who show the truth. And then she talks about how important it is to get a testimonial. Now, I have some clients who run to do a testimonial. I have other people, like, it's weird for me to ask for it, right? But one thing I was so grateful for, our event assistant, Christine, she was walking around and getting people on video to talk about their experience at the conference. And so thank you all for sharing those stories because they're going to be a part of next year's marketing materials as we go to enrich and grow the conference. But it's so important for you to know your why and then to go beyond that by sharing it with other people, painting that picture for others so that they too can join in with, they can find themselves or resonate with themselves that this person is my person. Okay. All right. So I'm going to skip over to our panel discussion. OMG. The phenomenal Mrs. My Own Homes, LaShawn Thompson, and Kenda Fields wrecked the house, okay? LaShawn made everybody go ham when she said that she had to do some really intentional healing work in order to grow from a woman. She said, I've been married twice before this current marriage. She said, I had to own up to the fact that I'm not a victim. She had to own up to the fact that nobody forced her to be this person. Even though she had a past and a history that supported this, she was like, I don't have to continue to be somebody that just accepts what life gives me. I have to do the work and make a change. And so she said, finding God and going to therapy and really working on attracting to herself the life that she was desiring. And I asked her, as a result of you coming to the conference, what's something that you'll change? And she said, I want to show up more so the world can have the privilege of experiencing me. She said, I'm going to show up more. And everybody in there was like, yes, ma'am. I got to show up more so the world can experience me. Kenda really emphasized for us the need for self-care. And she talked about how earlier in the spring, she was going through hard times with her health. Okay. She said she had hit such a brick wall that she ended up in the hospital with emergency surgery. She said still sitting on the bed was her laptop. And she was still trying to work because people were expecting for her to get work submitted. And the nurse said, no, ma'am, you have got to close this up and rest. Otherwise, your healing process is going to be twice as long because you don't know how to turn off. And so she talked about how our kids are watching our self-care. Our children are watching how we take care of ourselves. Our children are watching how we propel ourselves forward. They're watching us. Are we taking care? Are we showing them the best example of taking time off, pressing pause, doing less? Are we doing that? Are we some women who we always keep going, we always keep moving until we can't? Doing those check-ins make all the difference. And then my own with her fly self, she's going to be main stage next year. I already know that. She talked about how powerful it is that she started delegating. Okay. Y'all know this is one of my favorite words. One of my favorite words. She talked about the power of delegating. How, as a mom with, I want to say she has 4 boys. My own, forgive me because I can't remember. Might be 5. She got a lot of kids like me. So, anyway, she said, listen, I was starting to be so vexed over some of the household stuff, laundry and other things. She said, everybody needs to have their stuff in this one space on this particular day, and they're going to come and pick up the laundry and wash it. If your stuff isn't here where it's supposed to be, then you missed the train, and you're just going to have to, 4 boys, thank you, LaShawn, you're just going to have to wash it yourself. But that was something that she loved herself enough as her business picked up, as she started to do more things and show up more places and had a staff and all this stuff. She's like, I cannot be doing laundry. Jamil of Sweeping Atlanta Cleaning was at my house today. I walked in, my house smelled completely different. I just sat there just smelling my own air. Because sometimes our bandwidth doesn't permit for us to do all the things all the time. We call her in when it just gets bad up in here, okay? We call her in like, okay, we're busy this week. We cannot. Okay, can you please come? And so it's okay for you to delegate. It's actually a superpower. And then finally, the fabulous Miss Megan Mason, founder of the L Collective PR agency and the PR manager for TV One and Clio TV, sauntered in with her fabulous self in a fuchsia colored suit, okay, no less, and walked up so eloquently and so elegant. And she reminded us that we are brilliant and we are gems. She reminded us that the doors are always open to us to move from one level to the next level, and how there's no such thing as a coincidence when it's time. She reminded us that there are so many places that we will go to, and it just so happens that the person that's there knows this person. It just so happens they've already heard your name. It just so happens that this connects to this connects and this connects. But it's because it's for you. It's because it's your time. And so she told us her story of how she moved from, of course, she's a military wife, to sliding in right on time, right on schedule to the perfect position that helps her to work on her creative interests and execute at the level that she does. It was everything. It was everything. And so, as we think ahead of the magic that happened this past weekend, how women from across the world, because there were ladies from outside the US who even came, ladies from all of these places became fast friends and collaborative partners in a day. There were tears of laughter and joy. There were tears of an inner pondering of like, I know I need to be here. I'm not sure why I'm here, but this was what I needed. There was a place of, I finally found my people. There were ladies who were like, you weren't lying. Like, these are my people. I didn't realize I could have 20 best friends. There are women out here who actually want to see you succeed and see you win and go to the next level. They want this for you. They want to walk with you to do it. They're like-minded just like you are. And so as we build and as we move outward, as we grab a hold of what we know is for us, we're intentionally connecting to those who have a like mind. Somewhere across the board, we began to feel very isolated. We started to feel very contained in certain ways. when we didn't realize there's this whole community of people. Somebody who I really love posted the other day about just wanting community, you know? And I posted, maybe it's 2 days ago. I was like, we have community for y'all. Multi-generational community. So we have ladies who are like, I don't have no kids. I don't want no kids. We have ladies who are moms currently raising children. We have ladies who are now empty nesters in that different stage of life. 50s, 60s, 70s. All different generations. Embracing what God has for them, that every single person. One of our mature mamas, she's like, I'm 68. She said, I came to support my friend. I didn't think I was going to get anything out of this weekend. She said, but oh my Lord, I feel a sense of urgency to go do what God put in my heart to do more than ever before. Multi-topic, multi-generational event that is transforming. It's now transforming organically. It might have just started with some folks bringing their mama. And the mama is like, but wait, God's not done with me too? And so I myself spoke from the idea, what's next for you? What's next for you? That you need to have belief in yourself. She said, best work trip ever. Hi. Belief in yourself. Exiting the mind drama. And transforming our negative thoughts into positive ones. That when you think about your goals and what's next for you, you feel empowered and ready. Instead of just like, oh, I have time. I have all of this bandwidth. We change our mindset to, I'm the perfect person to deliver this. I'm the perfect person to help them. People need what I have in the way that I give it. And that you cannot wait for a concrete manifestation of your hopes to believe in yourself. Believe now. Believe now. And then take action as a decision maker. We hinted just for a second, and we're going to get ready to wrap up. If you're on Instagram, somebody said, can I get the Momathon conference in California? You can have me come. If you're on Instagram, they may cut off soon. You might have to come over to the Momathon Diaries on Facebook, okay? Because they'll let me keep going over there, but Instagram makes me cut off in an hour. Okay, so transforming ourselves from a maybe type of person, okay, this is what I talked about, from a maybe type of person to somebody who is a concrete decision maker. A concrete decision maker, okay? How much time, and you can actually answer this, how much time do I spend as a person saying I'm thinking about it? How much mind space, mind drama, open tabs do I spend? Do I have open in my mind because I'm thinking about 50 different things all at once? How often do I do that? How often do I sit there with my brain on max overload, right? Always contemplating, trying to decide over and over again about if this is right, if it's the wrong decision. If it's the wrong decision, oh my gosh, the world is going to end. Everything's going to cave in. All of this combining together puts us at a standstill. It puts us at a standstill. And so we end up laboring over, thinking over, meditating, praying, hovering over these same decisions for an extensive period of time instead of making the decision that we're going to move forward. Instagram, if you're still watching, come over to Facebook. Love you guys. All right. How much time do we spend hovering over all of this and deciding again and again that this is where we're going to end up, okay? And so we have to make the decision in our present moment in today, believing right now that I am the baddest before I have all the receipts, before it's publicly seen the X, Y, and Z. Beforehand. Pulling from your past, pulling from your history, pulling from your certifications, pulling from your story, and making the best decision that you know of with the thought pattern that the worst that could happen is it doesn't work out. The worst that could happen is you have to pivot. The worst that happens is you draw data from taking said action. This is the worst that could happen. But a lot of us, we have so many tabs open and we're such maybe type of people. Such maybe type of people. And I love all of y'all, right? I love y'all. But there were certain ladies, they live in Georgia, Tracy, in Georgia, up the street. Hey, sis, you gonna come? Do you have something that weekend? No. Do you want to X, Y, and Z? I don't know. And then we wonder how that lack of decision making pulls over and over and over again, tumbling out to all these facets of our life. So then I say, well, how are your goals coming? I'm still in the same place I was 2 years ago. Okay. Is it possible that because we are maybe people, we attract maybe people and maybe opportunities to us? Is that possible? Is it possible that because we're uncertain, our results are too? Is it possible because we don't decide to take the next step that we stay right there in this position? We don't make decisions. We don't go forward with the logical next step. And so I just challenge the ladies. I said, here we are with all the open tabs open. Here we are with these ideas and excitement about certain things, and we're ready to move forward. But because we're maybe people, because we ourselves are uncertain about what the future holds, we just sit right here in this space for a consistent basis over and over again, wanting something different, but lacking the wherewithal to pursue it. And then y'all start, not y'all, but folks start posting on social media about how they want, the haters and the them, whoever them is, and all this extra stuff. Baby, how do people support something that has no receipts? How do we support stuff that if we were to look it up, we couldn't find nothing? How do we support what doesn't exist yet? What are we waiting on? Who are we waiting on? The help will come when you start to work the vision. Okay. And so the conference this year was so multifaceted, so multi-layered, so heavy in some ways, but also so liberating. There was an air of freedom in the room. I think it was a freedom to be everything. A freedom to be everything, like all the pieces. the woman me, the woman who, the virtuous woman me, the wife me, the mom me, the business baddie me, the career climbing diva me. And then Saturday night, we just cut up. Do you hear me? We just cut up and had a good time. We danced and listened to Clinton. He just crooned us, okay, and sung all the R&B jams, and it was everything. Permission to be all of you. Like, yes, you can worship and then listen to Beyonce at not the same time, but at the same day. You can be all of this. You are already all of this. And so I think it's time for a shift upward that embraces you as the whole woman. Okay. And that's what our goal is here in this community, is to minister to all of you. Okay. So last but not least, I passed out some information to the ladies at the conference this year because I am taking on a handful of remarkable women to coach with throughout 2023. Okay. The type of ladies that I am going to be working with are ambitious moms who have a mission. Ambitious moms who have a mission. The brilliant women who are impactful, enthusiastic, and they know that what's inside of them is supposed to change more than just their lives. See, there are a lot of places where they can help you get stuff together enough to change your life. But I'm looking for these women who want something bigger than just what happens at their home address. Yeah, we're going to work on that too. But we want to embrace the fullest version of who you are. And I believe that that vision is bigger than just what happens at your house. It has to be. So I'm looking for moms on a mission, women who want to partner with me and work from January 2023 until September 2023 to meet, collaborate, refocus, stretch you as a coach does a client, but to help you bring those goals to life. You guys already know. You can check the feed. You can check the speaker sheet. The receipts are already there. But what I want to do is bring my goal-reaching superpower into your world to help you unleash your superpowers. Okay? We want to go beyond the brainstorming. We want to put together a strategy, and then we're going to walk together as you fulfill it, as you pitch, as you raise your hand to say, I'm that person, as you start this new business, as you leverage into the next open door, as you do all of this, you have somebody here in your corner who is solely dedicated to you and your dreams, your goals, your family. And so if that's you, if you are ready to move toward, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be overtly scary, right? Sometimes we think about coaching and it's like, oh my gosh, she's about to, I don't know, scream at me. A lot of our ladies, we hop on the phone, we just enjoy the coaching hour, because where else do we have in the world where somebody is just there focused on us and our needs and our dreams? Where else do we go? That's what coaching is for. LaShawn coaches with women who are single but want to date intentionally. Where else can you go and people just want to talk to you about your love life? My client Tracy helps women with showing up audaciously in the workplace so that they can get those promotions. Who else is just here to talk with you about your next moves? Who else? This is what you bring somebody into your universe for, so that you can go to the next level, because somebody is just here to support you. And when you have these moments where you're at a standstill, or these moments when you don't have belief, that person's like, girl, stop. Did you check your own receipts? and we get you back in the game. No more standing in our own way. No more letting our mind drama keep us from making decisions. No more letting our decision making be influenced by fear of rejection, fear of complacency. No more. No more of our goals being dismantled and smashed by our family related to-do list. No more. What if we curved everything and moved it around so that you can be the best, fullest, most fulfilled version of yourself? Okay? So that's my spiel. If you know I'm talking to you, if you know you're that mama, then I want you to slide in my messenger. Okay? Let's set up a time to chat. Let's talk about coaching. Let's talk about how we're going to help you hit your goals. Let's talk about how we're going to slide you out your own way. It's not that you're too overwhelmed, right? Some of us are overwhelmed. But there are others of us who are, we just have so much going on. We have so much overflow. I like to call it overflow. So many answered prayers that are existing in our life right now that we need support with moving it around, delegating some things, moving some things off of our plate so that we can step in and shine like we're meant to. Okay? So if that's you, if you're an ambitious mom on the move, you are fun, right? Like you're one of those sisters where you're lighthearted. You want to walk in more rest, more clarity, more vibrancy, more vision. And you know you need somebody to walk with you to support you with creating and fulfilling that strategy next year. If that's you, I want you to message me, okay? From off the top of my head, I know 2 of those slots are filled already. So I believe we have a few more left. If that's you, okay? Shoot me a message. To everybody that came to the conference this year, y'all made it amazing. To everybody that rallied around the ladies who needed it, who hugged the young mamas who were there just having their moments. My event planner, she was walking around with tissue. She was walking around with tissue like an usher. People just crying because some of us are lamenting so the wins and the losses and the challenges that we've had all year. And this was our moment to just let it go. This was our moment. And so for that, I thank you all for bringing that to our event. Next year, the goal is to triple the number of women. Y'all got me? The goal is to triple the number of women. So as soon as we have a date, you guys can stay tuned, okay? Somebody said, I want to be coached. I see you, girl. I'll slide in shoot me a message as soon as this live is over. The goal is to triple, princess. Y'all hear me? Triple. We're already in talks with the hotel. We're like, listen, what do we need to do differently? How can y'all make this work? We walk the ballrooms. I want to see the ballroom filled. Did y'all know? I promise y'all I'm about to go. Did y'all know that when we had praise and worship, and some of the videos are on my feed, we had praise and worship on Saturday morning, and the music floated up through the hotel. The hotel's made like an embassy suite where it's like the levels just go up in the rooms. It wasn't like the lobby cut off the floor. From the very bottom, it's open all the way up to the top. So our music floated from down at the bottom all the way up. My event planner, she said, Christina, people were poking their heads over the balcony to see what was happening. The hotel employees were raving, poking their heads in, talking about what is going on in this room. I want triple. I want to shake the hotel with worship music. I want there to be no missing why we're there. who we're singing about. I don't want any, there's no distinctions. Y'all know why we're here. I'm here for the total woman. Jesus, and Jennifer said this when we were on the phone, that Jesus came for everybody in their total person. That he didn't just heal them, he made all of them whole. That when we come together, it's this shaking that happens when women come together and collaborate and worship, and there's no pettiness and no drama. There's no fussing, no mean girl vibes. It's just women who want to support each other and ask questions and live a better life. We want to change how you live your life for the rest of your life. That you feel okay, you feel free to be all of you. Yes, I worship God and I might twerk a little sometimes. It's all of me. I got 5 kids. I can throw it back. It's all of me. I'm all of this person. It's okay to be all of her. You are her. And God loves every bit of it. Every bit. And so next year, the vision is triple. We're already talking about it. Jennifer Francis is our sponsorship liaison. She's working on it. The goal is triple. I already have some of my main stage speakers in mind. Give me time to think about it. Who's going to be speaking? People got to be laid on my heart. But the vision is triple. So as soon as we have the dates, if you're not on the email list, DM me with your email so you get information. But we got to make the shift. And I want you to do it with us. I really do. I will continue to tell you all that what we're building, there's a seat for you. There's a seat for you. We want you there. We want you to bring your family, your crazy family life, your busy schedule, your needs as a woman, your wellness and self-care, all of these things. We want you to bring all of that with you and bring it to the table. There's space for you, okay? Last but not least, thank you to our conference sponsors. I'm not sure if she's watching still. Yes, Every Kid. I had the honor of meeting their outreach coordinator, Shakira Harden. She came to the conference and had the time of her life. She said it was the best work trip she had ever been on. She said, I will be at this conference forever. And I was like, yay! The joy she brought to our atmosphere, how lighthearted, her beautiful spirit. She brought so much to the event. And then to my dear friend and her husband, Mrs. Shonda Thompson, and her amazing husband, Mr. Thompson, thank you all for being conference sponsors this year as well. For their continuous support, I am better because I know them as people, and better because their influence is in our lives. They make us better. They really do. One my event coordinator said she's like an angel walking around on earth. She really is. So thank you to Yes Every Kid and Yes Every Kid Foundation, and to Threefolds Care Incorporated, who operates, who supports those with special needs, varying type of needs. They work group homes here in the Montgomery, Alabama area. We are so grateful for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To every speaker, y'all are the bomb. To every attendee, you made the event what it was. And I'm just grateful to see where we're going. The goal next year is triple. So grab your girlfriends. Y'all know it's going to be in October. Don't act brand new when I message you talking about, okay, what we doing? As soon as we have the dates, you guys will have the date. So you can mark off your calendar for next year and we can make magic happen, okay? Once again, if there's any way I can support you with, you're hosting an event, you need a coach, you need a speaker, all of these are my superpower. I'm happy to partner with you, collaborate with you, to help you execute with excellence. Okay. I feel like that's it. I could just go on all night. I love you guys. I hope you feel the love. I hope you feel valued, seen, appreciated. I hope that you feel encouraged by something that you've heard tonight, by attending the event. Like, I don't have any words. So, and in the words of the social media thing, I am because we all are. I feel like this so applies to the Momathon community. Okay. So I'm just grateful for you guys being who you are. You all make this community what it is. If it was just me showing up and talking, I mean, I am great, but everybody together working their powers, their superpowers, that is what makes this community what it is. Okay. So thank you guys for what you bring to the community. I am grateful, eternally grateful. That's it for tonight. I love y'all. I'm sure I'll be live again tomorrow sometime. All right. Have a great night. I love y'all back.